isn't the originator for lots of...
See, I do like a good...
Is that true? I don't even know if that's true, but hopefully I'm not... I do actually like your music.
It's not like us to say anything libelous on the podcast, is it?
Not like me to say anything libelous on the podcast.
Hey everybody, it's John Lamilton here alongside my good friend and business partner, Mr. Jason Brockman. We are here for another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast, where as always, it is our job to help you get more customers and make more money without just working harder. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this month's episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Christmas special of the ALB podcast. A Christmas tradition, Jace.
It's becoming a tradition, isn't it? It's almost routine having one of these every year.
Oh, there we go. It's one of the earliest routine bells we've had in a podcast. Well done.
Thank you.
This is feeling like Morecambe and Wise now.
Yes, well, is that because you bring me sunshine?
No, I think what that means is we've got 5 years worth of Christmas specials now. This is our 5th Christmas special, so we don't need to make any more now. We'll just play repeats.
Well, this is a good idea. Maybe it's useful to do that, because then we might remember what you said on the last one.
That'd be helpful, wouldn't it? It's like, happy 1998, everybody. So, yeah, we are here 5 years. Oh, my God, 5 years of Christmas specials. We've turned this into an evergreen asset, haven't we?
We have indeed, yes. That's strange that you should say about evergreen assets, because I think we must be, well, maybe a month after the launch of your new book, Evergreen Assets, mustn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It's sold 1 million copies now. It's number one. It's been translated into 50 languages: Cornish, Double Dutch,
Piratey.
Yeah, we are a month in to Evergreen Assets being out there and being a thing, which is amazing because it's been like a year of hard graft with just a Google Doc. So to turn it into a real thing now is a great feeling. So the opening chapter of that book, I talk about Noddy Holder. And the way he created this little evergreen asset. So in a sweaty New York studio in the middle of August 1973, Noddy Holder sat there and went, "It's Christmas!" And it wasn't. It was very much not Christmas. I don't think he or the band had any inkling at the time how big that was going to be. It was just, should we do a Christmas song? That was as far as they thought. And the story I've told in Evergreen Assets is Noddy already had the song that we now know as Merry Christmas Everybody written. But it was this flower power, buy me a rocking chair, I think it was called. And he just dusted it off. He'd written it 15 years earlier and just dusted it off and rewrote it as a Christmas song. Spent one night at his mum's house. The band went out, got drunk, said, "We're going to do this Christmas song. You've got this. Buy me a rocking chair." Turn it into a Christmas song. We're over in New York. We're doing a tour of the States. Let's record this Christmas song. So literally an overnight writing session, 1 day in the studio, boom, got a Christmas song. Went to number one that year, sold 500,000 copies, happy days. I don't think that Noddy Holder expected 48 years later to still be earning £500,000 a year from that song.
No, that's pretty good evergreen asset, that, isn't it?
It is. There's something like 42% of the world's population have heard that song.
Wow.
Which I was a little bit surprised at first. And then I thought, really? 58% of the population have never heard Merry Christmas, Everybody?
Yeah, I guess 58% of them perhaps don't celebrate Christmas.
Could be. But even so, how do you avoid hearing it?
Well, this is true.
Do you ever play the Whamageddon, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, how far do you get? Are you out yet?
To be honest with you.
We're recording this, by the way, in the middle of November. Sorry to spoil any illusions here.
Can you ask me a question that's not about memory?
Oh, that's true, yeah. So for those who don't know the game of Whamageddon, by the way, it is the act of trying to avoid hearing Wham's hit Last Christmas. I don't know, are there any rules in terms of you can turn the radio off if you hear the first few bars, or run out of a shop if they happen to be?
I don't think it's just like, when does that,
the minute you hear it, you're out. And it's last man standing. I don't know what they win. I don't know, a Christmas card from Andrew Ridgely, I guess. Or yeah, it could be. What are your favourite Christmas songs, Jace? What's your favourite go-to one?
I think there's two kind of sorts, really. You've got the Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You." That's the kind of go-to. That's the Christmas song, isn't it? Really, for many people, I guess. It's just that ding 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 bit at the very beginning. It's like, here we go, it's Christmas. And I guess you can't really, the Mr. Evergreen Asset himself. If 1 year's not enough, then I'll do one every year. Mr. Cliff Richard, I guess he's the other ultimate Christmas.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go Bublé.
Bublé, yeah. Well, he just rides on the coattails of lots of others. I think really that's how he kind of puts himself across, isn't it? He does a lot of covers and stuff, which makes it doesn't really isn't the originator for lots of.
See, I do like a good.
Is that true? I don't even know if that's true, but hopefully I'm not. I do actually like your music.
It's not like us to say anything libelous on the podcast, is it?
Not like me to say anything libelous on the podcast. I'm guessing he does lots of original stuff too, but generally speaking, I think he does lots of...
riding on the coattails is mainly what he does.
Lots of covers, reimaginings.
But I like covers. I've actually got a Christmas playlist, which is just covers.
Oh, okay.
I think the Mariah Carey one, My Chemical Romance, doing All I Want for Christmas Is You. That was quite interesting. A very, very rocky version of it. Okay. Nice bit of screaming. I think there was a Metallica version as well once, which was really, really interesting. I like. I think I've got to go Fairy Tale of New York, just for the kind of anti. It's almost like it's got a humbug feel to it, hasn't it?
That could have been written in July, couldn't it? Really,
it probably was. But the other one, I think, again, you can't not sing along to it. Wizard. I wish it could be Christmas every day.
Yeah, true. And Shakin' Steve. I mean, there's too many greats, aren't there? To be fair, Shakin' Steve. Yeah. And Mr. Blobby, he had a Christmas hit, didn't he? And we always see, Blobby, Mr. Blobby, and we do that, don't we? So it's
every Christmas.
Every Christmas.
Yeah, it's first. Anyone who's putting together a Christmas compilation playlist, it's the first one they go to, isn't it?
Mr. Blobby, absolutely.
Of course, my favourite Christmas number one was "Killing in the Name" by Rage Against the Machine.
Yes, because it beat Mr. Cowell.
Absolutely, yeah. That was in fact probably the only Christmas song that I ever bought.
Okay.
Despite already owning the song on the album.
Ah, you bought it. See?
I did. What about movies? Christmas movies? What's your
Santa Claus the movie?
Okay, is that Richard Burton? Is that the one? No, it's Miracle on 34th Street, isn't it? I'll get confused.
Yeah, there's lots of those ones, isn't there? But Santa Claus the movie. Yeah, I can't remember who plays Santa Claus, but it's the one with Dudley Moore as the elf and stuff, and he kind of gets kicked out and stuff. It's very good.
Okay. Santa Claus. What happens in that then?
I think it is that one. Well, it's Santa.
Yeah.
And it's delivers presents and stuff. I don't remember. It's just what I like to watch every year. They all merge, don't they? The story, they probably, it wasn't even done before,
and there was
There's reindeer and elves and Santa and presents and kids and happiness and didn't he take a kid on board the sleigh? I don't know. As you say, they all kind of merged, didn't they?
I don't know. It was 1970s. He might have taken a kid on the sleigh.
I don't even know.
Don't say anything libelous. Told you that.
I didn't say that one.
Oh dear. Now for me, I like almost films that aren't really Christmas films. Home Alone, Die Hard. Yes, Die Hard. There are people that say Die Hard isn't a Christmas film. I'm sorry. Ho, 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 now I have a machine gun. It takes part on Christmas Eve. The end credits is Let It Snow. There's Santa hats. There's Christmas jumpers. There's lights. It is the most festive thing ever. It is not... Christmas is not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nagatomi Tower.
No, this is true. It's a Christmas classic. It is.
Yeah.
And the heartwarming ones like E.T. and all that kind of stuff, they're always quite... Mary Poppins. I mean, cool, blimey, Mary Poppins. Yeah, it's not Christmas unless you've got Mary Poppins on, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just... It's just the start. It's lazy TV schedulers just putting repeats in there, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but it is that feel good, and that's the thing about Christmas movies. I think really they all feel good, even if it is Hans being kicked off the top of a building. It's feel good, isn't it? Good guy won, perhaps.
Oh dear! So for those watching the video podcast, I just recreated Hans Gruber's thing, but realised that because I'm not talking, you won't have seen it, so I'm going to talk whilst doing it. No. Which, if you are listening to the audio podcast, as most people do, that will have just done absolutely nothing for you.
It's the audio description. There's John walking backwards on his chair, waving his arms like a kind of strange octopus kind of thing going on, and going with his mouth wide open. That's the audio description.
Very good. I should have had the gun in my hand as well. No,
that may have helped.
Yeah. Oh dear. We miss you, Alan. We really do. What's your proudest moment of this last year that's gone by, then, Jace? What have you enjoyed most out of 2021?
That's difficult. It's been quite a few high points, really, even if it has been a bit tricky because the C word still have been around, hasn't it, and still interfering with lots of aspects of your life. But yeah, no, there's lots of different things, really. From still loving my Thursday one-to-ones with the clients. That really, for me, in the kind of working schedule, is a really great day. Really enjoy that. It's lovely to talk to everybody, even if it is only for 15 minutes, and get involved in the business. I love that. And that obviously came from the previous year where we kind of started that one up. But just being able to continue it, really, I think is something I really enjoy. Again, cancer research stuff, that's been really tricky, but still managed to succeed this year and had a physical relay. Again, that one made me cry during that. So that was actually... that was a bit of a moment, I guess, really. Whether that's a high moment or a low moment, I'm not sure when you cry. But yeah, I think it was probably a high moment. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, did my relay in September and still managed to raise £60,000. So not so bad, really, considering everybody's in lockdown for most of that. What else we got high? Yes, as I say, it's quite a few, really. Enabling, letting you go on holiday, mate. That was a big high for me. 2 weeks without you complaining that you haven't been on holiday. That was particularly good.
Yeah.
And now I've got the rising highs of you being back, which is lovely at the moment.
Surely the rising highs of me being back are actually the dips of me having had 3 weeks without a holiday now. Not that I'm counting.
You're still up there, mate. You're still up there. It's
still that post-holiday high. What was it? One of our clients said earlier. He said, "Oh, you come back happier than ever." Well, was it less miserable than ever or something?
Something like that, wasn't it? Yes. It was a really good description, in fairness.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, that's been one of the highlights for me, and I think, in all seriousness, a realization that 26 months without a holiday, not taking any real time off the hamster wheel. I've had breaks, but those breaks have always been doing stuff at the same time.
So when you go on holiday, John, you tend to kind of staycations. It's kind of staying in this country, but you tend to fill it full of activity, whether that's visiting markets or visiting new towns or seeing friends, family, and things that you might not have seen for a while. So those are those. But when you go abroad, you tend to have a beach holiday or a poolside holiday, and you kind of sat relaxed and doing not a lot.
It is, yeah. We got halfway through the holiday abroad, and Sarah said to me, "I never feel this relaxed when we have a staycation." I said, "That's because we haven't done anything." I said, "For the entire 2 weeks we've been here, we've woken up in the morning, we've eaten breakfast, which someone else has made for us, and then we've positioned ourselves next to the swimming pool until 6 p.m. And occasionally we walk to the bar and get a drink, and occasionally, we'll go and get a burger and it'll be there ready for us, and then we'll just go back. And every now and then we get a little bit bored and we'll go, shall we walk down the coast and get an ice cream? That's all we've done for 2 weeks. And it just needed that, also that reboot, that recharge to just go, just do nothing. And Sarah used to be very, very active. She'd be like, no, if we're going on holiday, we're going to go up the mountain and we're going to go on this excursion and we're going to hire a boat and we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to go here and we're going to see these people. Oh. And I'm just like, no, I just want to sit by a pool with my Kindle. And even on this holiday, I even downed the Kindle at some points and I just had music on. and I just chilled because that was what I needed at the time, was just to reboot.
Does he have a go at paddleboarding though?
I did, yeah. So I've done paddleboarding a few times now, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. I think that's going to be a holiday routine now, because it's a great place to see wherever you are. It's a little bit of mindfulness, a little bit of focus. It is exercise. I don't get much exercise on holiday, I'll be honest with you. But it's a good place to really see the horizon, and kind of go round the corner on the coast and into the little coves and pull up alongside some of the yachts and just see some of the stuff that's under the water that I wouldn't want to go swimming with. But also, I'm not very good at paddleboarding, so I did go swimming with them several times. I managed to fall off a paddleboard in about a foot of water as well, so I'm quite chuffed with that.
I've never really fancied paddle. I love kayaking and stuff, but I never really fancied the standing up on a paddleboard thing.
Yeah, you don't have to stand up. You can kneel down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, kind of frontier land sort of thing. But I think when I was young, I did like surfing stuff, and I never really kind of got that standing up bit. I never really got that, so I think that's where it kind of comes from. But kayaking and that other water stuff, love that.
Definitely, yeah. Other than that, highlights of the year. Well, we had a coaching call with Gerald Ratner. That was phenomenal, I think, for our 1%ers, wasn't it?
Definitely. And I think that whole change of coaching call structure that we've done this year, I mean, that's made a major impact for both our side of it, but also from the members as well, I think, really. Yeah,
we flipped it, because it used to be like hot seat based. So we just did 3 calls a month, and it was all hot seat based. So if members had issues, they just came to us. Right, today I want to talk about keeping customers. Tomorrow I want to talk about Facebook ads. Oh, I've got a question about staffing. It was a bit like Forrest Gump's mum's chocolate.
What's the chocolate?
You never know what you're gonna get. And sometimes it's brilliant, and members absolutely loved it. So it's fantastic. That was a really good call. And other times it would be the questions weren't great. So we flipped it and we've made it topic based. So every call is now a group discussion around one particular topic, one particular issue. And the feedback we've had from members has just been phenomenal. That it's like, oh my God, I love this new format. We will obviously still be doing hot seats, because members still have pressing issues that they want us to kind of look at. But obviously you do the one-to-ones with members as well. So any real pressing issues they can bring to you on a Thursday. But what this also means is, obviously, through your one-to-ones on a Thursday, through the conversations we're having in the Facebook groups, through the conversations we're having on email with members as well, we know what they need to work on. So we can just curate it and say, okay, next quarter, we're going to be working on these topics. And some of the coaching call topics now, and this is probably 6 months into the change, are being suggested by members, and like, could we do a coaching call around this single topic, please? And we're like, that's a great idea. Members will love that. Yes, we'll do it. So a little bit of curation, I think, coming from members. This sounds a bit cliche, but kind of the 1% Club, although we've put it together, it's what it's become is being moulded and shaped by the members rather than by us. We've still got
that's what I kind of described. So I do that 30 minutes when people join us, kind of new members join us, kind of thing, don't I? And it's kind of like, actually, yes, we set it up, and yes, we used to lead it. Now we don't. We just curate it, and we take everybody else's things together and kind of mold that into either the learnings through coaching calls, or whether that's learnings through masterclasses, or whatever that may be. And this time, this incarnation, we've started inviting guests in as well. I know you just mentioned Gerald Ratner, but he wasn't the first of our special guests, was he?
No, we had Neville Wright. He was one of the very first, and actually had the privilege of actually meeting Neville face to face as well in the summer. One of our staycations, we said, "Oh look, that's not far from Neville. Let's go meet Nev." So inspirational to have met these people, and I think when I look back, and obviously we started making some notes for the podcast and thinking about those moments that really shaped 2021 for me, and the first 2 words I wrote down were Wright and Ratner. Mm-hmm. And those are the people who, the conversations we've had both privately and publicly with those guys will stay with me for years. I now cannot walk past an industrial estate anywhere in Plymouth without thinking of Neville, because he took me on a tour of the industrial units that he owns in Peterborough, and just that lifetime of collecting assets, like, well, that will stay with me for life, and hopefully that will generate a significant return on investment over the years. Gerald Ratner's conversations around enjoying his retirement now, how he's enjoying life more now, age 71, being able to go for a curry with his son and ride his bike and listen to music and have good coffee than he was when he was earning £850,000 a year as CEO of Ratner's and had millions in share options and everything. All the money and success and fame brought stress and a big target on his back. And actually what he's got now is a really, really nice, ambitious lifestyle business. Whether he will define it as an ambitious lifestyle business, I don't know. But ultimately, he's got a nice business. He earns good money. He's obviously doing a lot more public speaking now than actually running businesses. But he's got it with the lifestyle in mind. It's like, what actually makes me happy? So, yeah, those...
wasn't it? That was that parting shot. It's like, right, I'm off now to have a curry with my son. God, that was something I couldn't have said 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And it was literally that. I know you just said about the curry with somebody, but that for me was what stuck with me. And it's like, I mean, you couldn't do that before, but now you can, and that's.
Yeah, it was almost said. It wasn't even like, it was just an aside, wasn't it? It was, I couldn't have done that if I was still at Ratner's. And it was just those moments where you think, Christ, yeah, that's the gold. That little bit that you've just said there, which wasn't scripted, which wasn't part of the book, it wasn't part of the coaching course, wasn't part of the structure, it was just a little aside, like, oh, my son's here now, we're off for a curry. Couldn't have done that if I was still at Ratner's. Like, cool. That's the gold right there. So, it's time to broach the annual topic of Book of the Year.
Oh, Book of the Year, yes.
So what's on your shortlist this year?
Shortlist?
Very, very, very short list, is it?
This is the 5th year in. People aren't going to be surprised to know that I ride on your coattails when it comes to reading books.
You are the Buble of books, aren't you?
I often let you do all of the reading, and then I get to hear about the learnings that you've got from them, because it's much more better when it's been...
much more better.
Gone through your filters. So yeah, I did read Gerald Ratner's book because that was really important, obviously, before his call. And I read Neville's book years ago anyway. So that's 2 that I read, maybe not this year. Ratner's I did. And that was really good. And I found loads of stuff out of that, really. And I think for me, the biggest take I took out of that particular book was it's all about the people around you. For him, that mattered in these younger days and the more formative years with his dad and stuff, taking him even on holiday and parking up on the beach in the cheaper zone, not the most expensive exclusive, but right next to that. So almost within, within spitting distance of the elite kind of thing, and taking the slightly cheaper things, but being part of that. And that was really important, that image, that just being around the right people, through to his business success and actually having a good group of friends around him that he could play snooker, chew the fat, and work out what those look like in terms of both his business development and his own personal relationships and stuff like that. So it's having that people around him. I think having the right team around him, that was really important. I think one of the things he said in the call was about that he felt really sorry when it all went wrong. He felt really sorry for his management team, because they were the ones which were going to kind of lose out to whatever happened to him. And that was one of his regrets, I think, really. I think from obviously not the actual statement necessarily, but one of the fallout things that kind of came of it was for his management team. So you could tell that the people around him were really important, his loyalty to them and them to him, and to the business kind of thing. So yeah, people, I think, was the most important thing I took from his book.
So that was The Rise and Fall and Rise Again, Gerald Ratner.
Was it? Oh yeah, it might have been.
That's what it was called, I believe. Yeah, from memory.
That was definitely one. I've read Evergreen Assets. I read there's a nice book out there. I've read a bit of that. That's quite good. A few tips in there to take away to implement in your business.
That's certainly the book I've read more than any other book this year. I must have read that book about 20 times from start to finish.
Yeah, and I guess the other book which has had an impact on our business and on us as well is Friction. I haven't read it, but reading off the back of the again off your coattails of reading that book, I think that's certainly one of those areas which our business definitely needs a bit of work and still needs that bit of work. And we obviously are looking at implementing that quite considerably. But I think, I mean, you can probably make it your book of the year possibly, but it's, but yeah, once you kind of realize somebody's written about it, you can look at everywhere and go, there's a lot of friction. And I know that's something that we hear an awful lot of in our business about friction. So
we do.
Sorry, mate, I've probably taken your book of the year away, but there you go. You crack on.
No, not at all. I mean, I've got a very long short list. Friction is one of the books on there. It's been very impactful. Roger Dooley is the book, by the way, Friction. Ultimately, the key takeaway from the book Friction is that when you wear your friction goggles and you start to notice friction, you notice it everywhere. And even on holiday, I must have mentioned so many times, friction. Oh, they've put friction in place. Why doesn't this just work? Oh, they've put friction in place. I've read a lot of.
A second, I had a call with one of our team members yesterday, and he'd come back from a conference in Portugal, and he said, "I can see why John bangs on about it all the time now." He said, "The number of times I've seen that now, if you can't." And sorry, I just thought I'd share that with you.
But it is one of those things, and I think so many of the 1%ers that obviously we had that as our book of the month last month and the month before, and I think everyone said the same thing. The key takeaway is just that you see friction everywhere. There is no magic bullet for getting rid of it. It is hard work to remove friction, but oh my God, is it easy to see it everywhere. And it is just, it's like the reticular activating system or whatever, that just once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. There's some things you just can't unsee. My other shortlist, I've got Good to Great, Jim Collins. 21-year-old book now. One of the books that was recommended to me many years ago. Always thought it was a bit too corporate, a bit too professional. I had a look at the book once and it was quite small print. I don't know if that's for me. Loved that book. Absolutely love that book. If you've got an existing business, and we've got obviously with a sports betting business, quite an established business now, and you want to improve that business, and Good to Great is a study, by the way, of like all the US stock market over a 40-year period to identify only those companies who went from middling along doing all right to suddenly having a major breakthrough and sustaining it for at least 15 years. So it wasn't something happened and it was a flash in the pan, they got lucky. It was something happened and they sustained that growth. Out of 3,000 companies, only 11 companies met the criteria. And then it's what is that criteria that all 11 possess that the other 3,900 don't. And love that book. 80/20, one of the books that is cover out on my bookshelf. Richard Koch. Another book that I thought I didn't need to read. I bought that book literally just to sit cover out on this bookshelf because I already knew about the 80/20 principle. I've lived by it for probably 13 years now. So I thought, I know everything there is to know about it. Oh my God, the highlights I've made from that book. Unbelievable. And Deep Work, which is, who's that? Cal Newport, is my final book from my shortlist. Another book that's been on my list for years. It was recommended to me when I was in a mastermind group at least 5 years ago. And I bought it 5 years ago and it just sat on my to read pile for 5 years. Because I'm quite productive, I get a lot done. I thought that was just a book on getting more done, so didn't really need it. No, it's not. It's a book about the psychology of doing important work and getting important work done. And when I was prepping for this podcast, I didn't know which book I was going to choose. And I still kind of don't. Because I could choose any of those books. I think I'm going to go for Deep Work. That's the one that's been most impactful for me this year. It's a new routine that's lasted. When did I put it in? So yeah, probably 7 months now. And that routine alone is the reason that Evergreen Assets is out there. Without that new routine, I would still be middling along trying to get that book finished. My word count, I think, increased by 50%. And all I did was remove the shallow work. Rather than focusing on deep work, I removed the shallow work from 2 days a week. And I just said Tuesdays and Thursdays are deep work days. No calls, no meetings, no emails, no social media. Nothing is going to happen on those days. I do a school run in the morning, that's it. So I do the school run, I come home, I work, phone off, door shut, house to myself, just write. And that alone created the space to increase my word count. When I went back through the edits, oh my God, the editing for that book was immense. Wrote far too many words. Going back through the edits, I made fewer mistakes during those deep work sessions as well. What I was doing before was trying to cram in half a day here, a couple of hours there. And just, the whole process of putting deep work into place has been so impactful. They've all been impactful, don't get me wrong. As I said, the conversations I've had with Gerald Ratner, with Neville Wright this year, with 1%ers, they'll all stay with me. All the books I've read, every book I've read, molds together, and the frameworks from one attached to another. I could have chosen 80-20 because we've spotted so many disproportionate correlations this year. I could have chosen good to great because that's the process we're following for the sports betting business. I could have chosen friction because I am noticing friction everywhere. But for me, what's made the biggest difference has been deep work. Notice Friction, by the way, is the most recently published of those books. I think that's 2 or 3 years old. All the rest, Good to Great is 2000, 80-20 rule I think is, or 80-20 principle is 2007. Deep Work I think is 2015, 2014. These are not new books, and our books of the year are often just what's come on our radar this year. So it's looking at, again, this is a deep work thing, it's looking at what matters rather than what's new. Ignore I saw a quote the other day from Kevin Kelly about the importance of ignoring the tyranny of the urgent to focus on the important, and knowing the difference between urgent and important is the difference that makes all the difference.
All the difference.
Deep work.
Fair enough. And to be fair, now you said about deep work, it was kind of like, actually, yeah, that has been the most impactful for you that we recognise, kind of thing. And actually, I can see why that would be. Although friction is the one we hear all the time, and that's the one that you do bang on about a lot. So in somebody else's words, but yeah, it was I can kind of see that why deep work would mean so much to you. To be fair, because actually that has completely changed your way of working. And of course, Evergreen Assets wouldn't be with us now. Had hit the deadlines if you hadn't been doing
it. It'd be another year at least, I reckon. But that's the thing, is actually, I've got a book out there, and the reason I've got a book out there is because I've written 40 fewer Facebook posts. Mm-hmm. I don't tweet, I'm not on LinkedIn every day, and those are the things that had to go in order to create the big thing. So yeah, it's looking at what big, huge goals I can achieve when I remove all the little goals. And I know subtract was my word of the year for 2 years ago, but actually I've done more subtracting this year. I've done some subtracting and adding, but I've subtracted lots of little things that matter, that do make a difference, but don't really matter as much as me publishing another book. That's what really matters. And I think, if listeners can kind of think about their own businesses, you've got lots of different things that you could do and that have an impact, but you've probably also got something big that really makes a difference that you haven't got time and capacity for right now because you're doing all the little things. Mm-hmm. That's deep, isn't it? That
was quite deep, yes, but actually really good.
Cool. So what's on the agenda for next year? What we got planned next year then, Jace?
Well, my word for next year, because I can't remember the one for this year, so I thought we'd go for a word for next year. Is fruition. I think that's the word.
Fruition.
Fruition. How about that for a word? Because I'd like to see. Well, actually, what I'm hoping to see is that all of the frameworks that we're kind of using, all of the groundwork that we've been doing this year, will start to pay off some fruition. Certainly for next year for us as our business, and also for our 1%ers, because we've invested an awful lot of time in terms of the coaching calls and the one-to-ones and stuff like that, and actually all the plans that we've been putting in place with our 1%ers. I'd like to see them getting something back from that. So all of the plans becoming fruition is what I'd like to see. And just to see the hard work paying off. I think that's the word, or the work that we've been paying out.
So a bit of harvesting.
Harvesting, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, you can't harvest things if you don't reap and you don't sow first.
This is true. And I think we've spent a year of doing that. So I think we've done a lot of those things.
Yeah, you got to plant the seeds, you got to nurture the seeds, you got to water them, you got to feed them, and then you get the fruition. So many people will be very happy with the fruition stage, but you don't jump straight there, do you?
No, definitely not. And yeah, without all of the other bits first, you can't get to harvest, so to speak.
Nice one. So we're going to be landing some planes next year as well, are we?
No, just do some harvesting.
Just harvesting. You just want a machete, don't you? That's
all I want, really. Yeah, a little machete. Go ahead now.
Believe me, I've been in a few meetings where I would quite like a machete as well.
Oh dear.
Nice one. So yeah, I think my word of the year for next year is going to be serve. I keep coming back to the old Jim Rohn, not Jim Rohn, although Jim Rohn probably did. On the coattails of Zig Ziglar, who said it. You can achieve anything you want in life if you just help other people get what they want. And I think so much of where I'm heading now is, obviously I'm going to start writing book number 4 next year. Well, that's serving people with a need for, the biggest thing that they need in their business. Serving 1%ers so that they can get what they want, serving our team, so actually all of our team members, coaching them to help them to grow, help them to achieve their goals, because if they all achieve what they want, then our company grows and thrives as a result. So actually that's in my mind the biggest thing I can do next year to help me is actually to help others. That's also very deep. I'm not.
That was very deep, wasn't it?
Not used to talking as deeply as this.
That's really good. Well, mine's black coffee if it's real coffee, instant, and I'll have a white and a sugar. But if not, black on its own, mate. If you're going to serve anything at all, that'd be nice.
Cool. I can do that. Yeah.
Don't have to wear an outfit. I'm not asking for fancy dress, but just.
Well, I've got a proper espresso machine now, so I can just press a button and you'll get black coffee.
Fabulous.
But it's got to be real coffee. I completely agree with you. I mean, life is too short for decaf and for instant coffee, isn't it?
It is pretty much, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Otherwise, you've got to cream it up and add some sugar.
Cool. I think we're done with another Christmas special, mate.
And we haven't even said ho 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 or tinsel or nothing.
I did say ho ho ho. I have a machine gun earlier.
You did.
With Christmas lights strapped around the chair. I'd forgotten that bit.
Yes.
See?
Yeah. Home Alone, we never mentioned that. And there's a great Christmas great Christmas film.
It is.
But there we go. There's enough of reminiscing again. We're going to go back down on memory road, which is nice. But take care. Lovely.
Fantastic. Great Blobby, year. Mr. Blobby.
Blobby.
Happy New Year, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.
So there we are, another episode in the can. How was it for you? Please let us know. However you listen to these podcasts, please leave a review on that platform. Let us know what we can do better, what you like, what you don't like, and how we can improve to make this show even better for you. We'll see you next time.